portion following his dollar gift debacle.
Also coming up tonight, National Security Coordinator DCOP Abdul Osman Razak announces ongoing operation to flush out foreign nationals after arrest of 6 Indians trading illegally in gold.
In business news, Ghana partners Rwanda and Singapore on cross-border payment projects to deepen digital finance integration.
And much later in international news, at least 50 Palestinians killed in a series of Israeli airstrikes in northern Gaza. Welcome to the program. We're live also on all our social media platforms at TV3 Ghana. Please do well to like our page, leave a comment. We'll be glad to share them with the rest of the world. Let's begin the bulletin from here.
The news now in detail, and the 5-member committee established by President John Mahama to investigate 3 petitions filed against the suspended Chief Justice Gertrude Torkornoo is set to begin its hearings tomorrow, Thursday, May 15. The committee, chaired by Supreme Court Judge Gabor, was constituted in accordance with Article 1466 of the Constitution, following consultation with the Council of State and a determination of a prima facie case against the Chief Justice. The committee, which will sit in camera, is scheduled to convene 3 times each week and will submit its recommendations to the President upon the conclusion of its work. And just to remind you, coming up on the screen are members of the committee. We have the chairman being Justice Gabor, members being Justice Samuel Isiedu, Mr. Daniel Yaudomelevu, Major Flora Dalugo, and Professor James Jisa, all members of the committee. Let's now speak to legal practitioner Martin Korle-Bu for more on the commencement of the committee's work. Counsel, thank you so much for your time. The stakes are high in this case, and it comes down to whether the Chief Justice will be removed or not. Can you explain to us what will happen at the committee hearing?
They've started the call. Let me finish it.
Hello, Counsel.
Personal relationship.
Mr. Korle-Bu, can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Yeah, thank you so much for your time. I was saying that the stakes are high in this case, and it comes down to 2 outcomes, whether the Chief Justice will be removed or not. Can you explain to us what will happen tomorrow at the committee hearing?
Okay, so from the statement that the hearings will commence, right? Now, it's not too clear exactly. You see, when we say hearing will commence, we have different types. So let's note this. Before you see a witness in the box, there are some preliminary matters the court will deal with, right? That's to say how they will prepare so that the witness can enter the box and not stay too long. So like in terms of filing witness statements. So those are all part of hearing. So we call that case management conference. So they say, look, maybe if it's Kemini who is going to enter the box, they say, can you write your statement and bring the whole of your statement so that you can attach all your documents, etc., so that the other side can also read through before they come. And then when Kemini enters the box, because you would already have written out everything you are going to say, you don't need to repeat that. So after some preliminary 4 or 5 questions, the statement you've written will be adopted as your examination in chief. That's everything you want to say, with the documents you've attached as your exhibits. So that the lawyers for the CJ will now do what we call the cross-examination. Yes, so they will take some time. Sometimes maybe not, they cannot even finish in 1 day. They can take 2 days or 3 days, depending on how long your statement is and how many questions they have. So that's for Kemini. Now, if you have witnesses, let's say 10 of them, yes, then it means that one after the other, they will also come and enter the box, and it will go the same way, that each witness will bring forward his statement, and then there will be cross-examination, and then there's what we call re-examination. Then that witness will leave. Then the next witness. Till Kamini finishes presenting her case. That, look, my lords, I have 10 witnesses plus myself, 11. Of course, if later, when I say 10, it doesn't often happen that you find 10. If they find out that out of the 10, 4 will end up, or even 6, or even 8 will end up repeating what two witnesses have already said, the court may disagree and not allow all the remaining 8 to speak. May say, okay, 2 can come and confirm. So it's not every witness you present that the court may allow. If they find that the witness is coming to repeat things that another witness has said, sometimes they won't allow too much repetition. So when that is done, then that's the end of the petitioner's case. And from what I'm saying, it's not one day, it's not 1 week. These things may take several weeks. Then, at the end of it, the Chief Justice will also come and mount the box. That's if only she thinks so far from everything that has been said, she finds it useful to enter the box. If she and her lawyers think they've damaged the petitioners so much that they don't need to enter the box, they may say no, they won't enter, the Chief Justice will not enter the box and may not call witnesses. You remember the election 2020 petition, the way the EC refused to enter the box. Yes, so it's the Chief Justice and the lawyers, they are prerogative. Okay. If they think they've damaged petitioners, they will say Chief Justice will not enter the box. But if they don't think so, if they think there's a lot to be said, then it will get to the turn of Chief Justice to enter the box. So that's for one case. Let's remember that the cases are 3. So the same thing will be done for each of the petitioners. So they hear the first case several weeks, go to the second case, maybe another several weeks, and then go to the third case. And then eventually they will now come out with their recommendations whether the Chief Justice should be removed or should not be removed.
And that leads to the next question. What will happen immediately if the Chief Justice is either exonerated or found guilty?
Yeah, so if the Chief Justice is exonerated, then it means she will come back to office as Chief Justice. She will just continue, all right? If she's not, then it means that she's leaving office, because that one, it says that the committee shall recommend whether the Chief Justice should be removed or not removed, right? And that one, from the way it is, the president has no discretion on the matter. It's the committee that would have heard the witnesses, seen them, heard all the cross-examination, and also the committee even has larger powers than a regular court. This committee is supposed to be an inquiry. So the committee, who are the judges, are free to go in and ask many questions. But you see, the traditional courts that we go to, though the judge can ask questions, most of the time, because it's adversarial, our judges usually, by practice, don't go too much into details. But as for this committee, they have a larger latitude to ask more questions, right? So at the end of it, then they write their report, whether she's removed or she should not. Right. And the president is bound by their conclusion. The president cannot look at it and say, no, I disagree. I don't think you did a good job. So the Chief Justice should not go, or the Chief Justice should go. The president cannot use his own discretion. Now,
Counsel, just before you go, there were calls for the hearing to be made public, or better still, some sort of openness. It appears this will not be done. Will it impact the hearing in any way? Hello, Counsel.
What's my opinion? Yes.
Yes.
Yes, going forward, we will need a bit more openness in the trial. We will need, because it's accountability. Today, if the president is going to be impeached, Article 68, 69 of the Constitution, it will be done in Parliament, right? People will see. Ministers of state, people see. You see, at the time they were in the US, where you are going to remove a judge, it's Congress, it's in Parliament, yeah, Parliament. I suspect ours, it's our stage of development. We like to guard certain things out of public view, etc. But I can see our society is moved on. So I can imagine that in the next constitution, this secrecy should not have a place. It should be open, because that way, then it helps everybody to watch their back, that any conduct you undertake, someday if there's trouble, you'll be asked to come and answer in public. It helps a lot when it's being done in public, because then we all serve as a check on each other. Because nobody is an angel. So you need us to check on each other, right? So we should be a check, right?
Mr. Toby, thank you so much for your time. We do appreciate your insight on this developing story. Martin Tebu is a legal practitioner.
Well, as one top official faces probe, another gets let off the hook. As President John Dramani Mahama has announced that no further disciplinary action will be taken against the acting CEO of the Ghana Gold Board. Sammy Gyamfi has faced public backlash after he was seen in a viral video handing an undisclosed amount of US dollars to evangelist Patricia Asiedua-Asiama. Briefing the press, Minister of Government Communications Felix Kwakye-Ofosu announced that the President Mahama has decided to accept Mr. Gyamfi's public apology.
Spokesperson for Government Communications Felix Kwakye-Ofosu confirmed that Sammy Gyamfi's public apology has been accepted and he has been cautioned to be more circumspect in his actions.
The presidency acknowledges Mr. Sammy Gyamfi's immediate act of contrition and the acknowledgement of the need to express regret over that incident. So that apology has been taken on board. You do recall that when President Obama launched the Code of Conduct, he said that one of the remedies for any potential breach was a caution from the highest levels of government. After the interaction with the Chief of Staff cautioned him, having acknowledged the apology he made.
The viral video, which showed Sammy Gyamfi handing Agrada a substantial amount of dollars, had sparked widespread debate, with some questioning the source of the funds and the appropriateness of the display. Sammy Gyamfi had explained that the money was intended for personal use and that Agrada had insisted on financial help before snatching part of the cash. Following the meeting at the presidency, the Gold Board CEO left the premises in a somber mood, signaling the seriousness of the engagement after the presidency, through the Chief of Staff, summoned him on Monday.
Presidency does not believe that any further action ought to be taken beyond the apology and the caution, and we all take a cue from it.
With the matter now resolved, the presidency considers the case closed. Korle-Bu, TV3 News, Accra.
Well, let's have a conversation on the back of this and speak with government spokesperson Felix Kwakye-Ofosu on this matter. Felix, thank you for your time with us on the program. Explain to us what the president considered before he took the decision not to pursue the matter beyond this apology and quashing or reprimand.
Well, a number of considerations went into making the decision. The first thing that was considered was the matter at stake, the video in question, where Mr. Gyamfi was seen handing some money over to the lady. The second was the remedial steps that Mr. Gyamfi himself had taken, which was a prompt apology just hours after the matter broke. And then the third was the action taken by the Chief of Staff, who promptly summoned Mr. Gyamfi and cautioned him on behalf of the president. So having done that and taking into account the events that took place, it was thought that the apology and the caution were enough and that no further action should be taken on the matter.
There are those who say the president may have missed an opportunity to make loud his commitment not to encourage these acts because he left Mr. Gyamfi off the hook. Is that something you share with?
I do not agree with that view. You know, it is necessary to consider the factors. You see, giving someone money in and of itself is not an offense. I do not think that if I met you and I gave you money, which money was not intended to compromise you or induce you to engage in anything unlawful or on my behalf, that necessarily in itself is an offense. But of course, we are a government that respects public sentiment. So sections of the Ghanaian public expressed disquiet about it. And therefore, it was necessary to look into it. Let me stress that that in itself does not necessarily brief any specific provision in the code of conduct that was launched. There's nowhere that it says that you cannot hand over some money to someone who beseeches you to do so. But some sections of the public took offense and commented widely on it. And therefore, the president thought that it should be looked into. So you need to consider the act itself, its gravity, its effect on the nation and governance as a whole. And then also consider what has happened subsequently on the part of the person who was involved in the incident. And to the extent that he himself has shown a lot of contrition, he has expressed regret. He did so on his own volition without prompting. It was necessary not to escalate this beyond a certain point. All that was required in the view of the presidency was to caution him. And in fact, it is not only he who has been cautioned. The chief of staff has taken the opportunity to caution all other appointees to be mindful of their circumstance and act in ways that meet public expectation. Right. So if anybody says that the president has missed an opportunity, I'm not sure that it's a fair comment to make.
Felix, you spoke about public sentiment. Now, there are those who are of the opinion that Mr. Gyamfi should not be sacked, but he should be punished, if you like, to serve as a deterrent to other appointees in the government. With what many are describing as a slap on the wrist, and I'm talking about the reprimand or the caution, does it do enough to advise other appointees not to engage in similar activities? For all you know, they may also be reprimanded or cautioned, and it may encourage, acts like this.
Well, you see, punishment must be commensurate with the offense. So what you do as a punitive measure against anyone who is said to have committed an offense must align with the offense that has been committed. And also, punishment takes many forms. In the code of conduct itself, one of the ways that the president has pointed out to be used as a form of punishment is the issuance of a public apology. The president has also indicated, and it is clearly stated in the code of conduct, that another way that you can be punished is to be issued with a caution. Now, these are not things that are done to people who have done nothing. So the moment somebody issues an apology, it is an acknowledgement that something may have gone wrong. The moment someone is cautioned not to repeat an act, it is a clear indication that something has gone wrong. And therefore, it must be borne in mind that the two steps that have been taken constitute punishment. Except that, as I indicated, punishment must commensurate with the offense.
Okay.
So, for instance, if you stole fish from soup, in Ghana, your punishment will not be a death sentence. Okay. Because it will be over the top and completely unacceptable. But if you stole soup, if you stole fish from soup, there is a punishment that is prescribed and that's what you be given. So what you did does not warrant further action beyond the two steps that have been taken. That is the apology and the caution. That is why the steps were taken.
Felix, thank you. Thank you so much for your time with us on the program. Felix Kwashiafasu as government spokesperson speaking with us there. Let's still speak on the matter and engage with Kojo Apieje, as a professor, associate professor at the School of Law at the University of Ghana. Prof, thank you for your time on the program. There are those who are of the opinion that the punishment in the form of a caution or reprimand from the president to Mr. Gyamfi is not enough. Do you share in this?
Thanks for having me. Yes, I share in that opinion. I don't think that just cautioning him, Mr. Gyamfi, and letting him go serves as any deterrence. And it also goes in the contrary to what the president himself promised Ghanaians, even during the elections, and then after the elections, and coming up with a code of conduct, and some other public utterances that have been made. And so it is disappointing. So I'm not satisfied with that decision taken by the president, but I'm also not too surprised because typical of governments, when they are in opposition, they sing a different song. When they come to power, they sing a different song altogether. They will want to justify anything as much as possible and would want the people to accept it. But there is a standard which I think the high standard that we thought the president set when he came to power has been lowered. The bar has been lowered by the way he has dealt with Mr. Gyamfi's case.
I see. So from what you said, what punishment or which punishments would have commiserated with the offense that Sammy Gyamfi is deemed to have committed?
Well, it's not an offense per se, but it breaches the ethical standards that are expected of political leadership. So, and it's a higher standard than what you expect of any ordinary person.
Right.
And so I would have expected a dismissal from his position or having shown some level of remorse for what he has done, which is really doesn't get to the root of it, but at least there's some sign of contrition. Some will say that should be enough, but I will say it only goes to mitigate the punishment that he deserves. So at least some form of suspension or a public reprimand or some other measures which will show and prove to the people of Ghana that there's really the reset agenda being proclaimed by the NDC is really working. And such a decision taken would have received the applause of Ghanaians, and even it would have silenced the opposition. And they would have had nothing more to say about this. But it looks as if they are relying on that to also make their own case, and the whole thing becomes mad in politics. And if you are not careful, the real issues that should be addressed, it's not being addressed. So at the end of the day, it becomes a political football that both sides are playing.
Prof, I thank you so much for your perspectives. Professor Kojo Appiagyei is an associate professor at the School of Law at the University of Ghana, speaking with us on the subject.
Let's now continue with the rest of our stories. And the importation of excavators into the country is now not permissible unless with express approval by the Minister of Transport. The move, which targets curbing illegal mining, will be complemented by a task force set to impound all unregistered excavators deployed at mining sites. The Chief Executive Officer of the DVLA, Julius Nikwekote, has been explaining.
To import excavator, we must seek clearance first from the Ministry of Transport, from the Transport Minister, and he would then write to us and notify us of the permits is released. Based on the permits, we'll register only those excavators. So if you bring excavator in without the permits, it will be difficult for us to register, because the ministry will not identify your excavator for us to register. Every excavator operator out there, that you have 2 weeks to register your excavator, because most of the excavators that were found or covered on site were not registered, and the DVLA finds it to be so disrespectful and breaking the law. We are saying that we are not going to allow that to continue. After the 2 weeks, the police will go around with our task force to arrest either the owners or seize the excavators and hand it over to government. Whatever government will use for that one is for another discussion.
Now, still on national security matters, a national security-led operation has resulted in the arrest of 6 Indian nationals for their involvement in the illegal trading of gold. National Security Coordinator DCOP Abdul Osman Razak says this forms part of the crackdown on illegal trading and exports of gold.
3 suspects were arrested in the Ashanti region before the enforcement of the Ghana Gold Board Act 2025 Act 1140. These individuals will be deported since the arrest occurred before the April 30 deadline for foreigners to exit Ghana's local gold trade. The second batch of 3 suspects was arrested in Enyinam after the new law took effect. Addressing the press, National Security Coordinator DCOP Abdul Osman Razak indicated that these individuals will face prosecution under the new law, which reserves local gold trading exclusively for the Gold Board.
Some of them we found out that the Indians use them to register companies, and they hide behind these Ghanaians to operate. And as I indicated in one of our press conference a couple of weeks ago, they do that to evade taxes and also hide their faces behind whatever that they are doing. And so the Ghanaians are also being dealt with in a way. But because the Indians or the foreigners are the main financiers of this activity, that's how come that we are, showing their faces. But of course, the Ghanaians too are being dealt with according to law.
Spokesperson for Gold Board, Prince Minka, stressed that the Ghana Gold Board Act strictly prohibits foreign nationals from participating in Ghana's local gold trade. While the first group was given leniency because their arrest preceded the deadline, the second group will face the full rigors of the law.
This is again to also remind all Ghanaians that the application process for the various licenses that you need to acquire in order to be involved in the local gold trading market is ongoing. And remember that our deadline is the 21st of May. So the clock is ticking. You may want to speed up so that the laws of Ghana will not deal with you if you fall on the wrong side.
The Ghana Board Act 2025 was introduced to regulate gold trading and keep illegal exports. Foreigners were given until April 30 to exit the local gold market with strict penalties for violators. The 3 deportees, all Indian nationals, will be sent back to their country. The remaining 3 will be prosecuted with their confiscated assets held as evidence. Authorities have vowed to intensify surveillance to prevent further smuggling attempts.
Management of the Korle-Bu Teaching Hospital have been encouraged to make the environment safer for patients. Health Minister Kwabena Mintah Akando, during a working visit to the hospital on Wednesday, bemoaned the poor maintenance culture at some health facilities across the country.
People are also here. What is this? HOD. No, but this is not safe. No, the patients are not here. But I can see some people inside here. No, but I see some more. So people are here.
Yes, but this place.
No, but it's not.
The minister was at the Korle-Bu Teaching Hospital to inspect the maternity and surgical blocks following reports he had received about the poor state of the facility. The Korle-Bu Teaching Hospital in recent times has been in the news for the wrong reasons regarding the deteriorating state of some facilities at the country's major referral center. The minister, in the company of some officials, inspected the wards, washrooms, broken down elevators and the general surrounding of some sections of the hospital, where he witnessed a number of disturbing gaps.
Is that the one I visited the last time?
Yes.
Is that the same one?
Yes.
And they still not been fixed?
They've actually bought one. I just spoke to the director of medical.
Because I gave clear instructions.
They bought one, yet to arrive.
The minister, who did not mince words with the hospital management on his concerns, reiterated the need for proper maintenance culture within health facilities.
If you look at the structures, what it tells you is that we have a very, very poor maintenance culture. Some of these things have been abandoned for a very long time. We are all going to go back to see how we can do it.
He plans to meet with management of the facility to drum home the new policy direction for a lasting solution.
We are going to develop new KPIs, new policy directions. Now it is government's position that any medical equipment you use at the health facility, you have an exclusive account where you put the proceeds in that account. When the machine is obsolete or where you need to fix it, you go into the account and take money to fix it. I am not oblivious of the fact that public health facilities don't charge as much as private facilities. But I always tell them that the bird that lays the golden egg must not be killed.
Meanwhile, the management of the hospital is expected to hold a meeting to address the minister's concerns as soon as possible.
It is often said that communication is key, but what happens when that communication is not backed by evidence? Strategic Communications, a firm, Stratcomm Africa, is taking a bold step to change that. As it marks over 30 years in business, the company has announced a major partnership with Global Info Analytics focused on promoting data-driven decision-making across sectors.
Ghana's leading communication strategy, Stratcomm Africa, is celebrating over 3 decades of service with a renewed commitment to data-driven strategy. As part of this new direction, the company has entered into a strategic partnership with Global Info Analytics aimed at deepening the use of evidence-based communication across various sectors. The CEO of Stratcomm Africa, Esther A. Koba, emphasized that many organizations in Ghana are shortchanging themselves by relying on assumptions instead of facts.
They feel they are making profit. They are making limited profits. We hold hands with Global Info Analytics to help people to understand their situations better.
Stratcomm's new partner, Global Info Analytics, will provide robust research and polling services to support this evidence-based approach.
What we are doing is to provide comprehensive detail of each of those dimensions and what customers think about each bank with regards to those dimensions.
The data gathered through this partnership will be available to firms interested in building their brand the right way based on insight, not assumption.
We are cultivating what we call an insights hub so that people don't just take decisions about things that they are doing, they'll be more strategic.
This partnership allows organizations, particularly in the banking sector, to better evaluate their performance and improve stakeholder engagement.
You're watching News 360 live from the News Hub here at Adesa Wikanda. We have business news coming up shortly. Do stay with us.
Welcome back to News 360. Michael Korle-Bu is joining us for the latest in business news. Good to see you, Michael.
Hi, people.
What's in the package tonight?
Well, Ghana has been making significant strides with regards to payments across the sub-region, and the governor of the Bank of Ghana has been speaking about it. All right, and the details now. Hello there, good evening, and welcome to the business segment here on News 360. I am Michael Obodu. Now, Ghana is taking the lead in a continental push to build a unified digital financial system across Africa. Speaking at the 3i Africa Summit in Accra, Governor of the Bank of Ghana, Dr. Johnson Isiama, revealed a landmark partnership between Ghana, Rwanda, and Singapore aimed at modernizing cross-border payments and enhancing interoperability within Africa's fintech ecosystem.
Governor of the Bank of Ghana, Dr. Johnson Isiama, is calling on African countries to work together to build a unified digital financial system by 2030. He says, while Ghana has made strides in financial inclusion and fintech, broader success depends on harmonized regulations, stronger trust between countries, and bold collective action across the continent.
We need to focus not only on what is possible, but on what is essential, and commit to building a connected African financial ecosystem by the year 2030.
IMF Deputy Director for Africa, Vitaly Kramarenko, underscored the importance of policy innovation and market stability in attracting long-term fintech investment.
It explores the dynamic landscape of digital payments, focusing on central bank digital currencies, fast payment systems, private mobile money, and crypto assets. It highlights the transformative potential of digital innovations while emphasizing the need for strategic planning and robust regulatory frameworks.
The 3i Africa Forum brought together central bankers, investors, and fintech leaders to chart a path toward a connected financial ecosystem. It was themed One Africa, One Market, driving innovation, investment, and impact for a connected future.
The Ghana Revenue Authority, GRA, has stressed the importance of filing tax returns, highlighting it as a crucial part of tax compliance. According to the authority, timely tax filing ensures that taxpayers meet their obligations and encourages all eligible individuals and businesses to fulfill their tax responsibilities.
The Ghana Revenue Authority, GRA, as part of its efforts to enhance voluntary compliance, engaged officers of the Ghana National Fire Service on tax filing and other important topics. The initiative aims to enhance taxpayers' understanding of their rights and responsibilities. Chief Revenue Officer David Late Kwakupome encouraged both private and public organizations to regularly provide tax education for their employees, assuring that the GRA is available to support such efforts.
We also encourage individuals anywhere at all to get in touch with our tax offices, taxpayer service centers scattered across the country to learn about the taxes that they are expected to pay and fulfill their tax responsibilities, which invariably will inure to the benefit of the whole state, where we'll be able to raise the much needed resources and be able to meet the development needs of the country.
Legal Director of the Ghana National Fire Service, DCFO James Oheneba Yawkwatin, highlighted the importance of such education and encouraged other institutions to replicate it.
So if through the filing of your income tax, you're able to get some relief, it means more money in your pocket, and that increases your ability to also spend. And I will encourage every fire officer, every citizen of Ghana who pays personal income tax to file his or her returns.
Vivo Energy Ghana has honored outstanding retailers who demonstrated excellence and commitment during the 2024 business year. The most prestigious award of the night, Country Retailer of the Year 2024, was claimed by H2 Oil Enterprise, operators of the Shell Aflao service station.
The annual Vivo Energy Conference and Award Ceremony
celebrate top performing Shell service stations and individuals who have performed creditably in the operations. Retailers were recognized in several key categories for their performance, innovation, and adherence to quality standards. Ebenezer Gentle Dodu was awarded Best Quality Health Marshal, while Prince Frimpong took home the Best Territorial Manager. George Appiah emerged as a Gold Retailer of the Year. Shell Aflao Service Station 820 Oil Enterprise won the 2024 Country Retailer Award. For the awardees, the recognition is a benchmark to adopt innovative strategies to stay competitive in the evolving energy market.
We are going to use this as a benchmark to inspire ourselves to do better, because our milestones for last year, now they are benchmarks. We're going to be better and we're going to be doing more things.
Our business is more of bringing the best out of people, so they should keep pushing.
The Managing Director of Vivo Energy Ghana, Christian Lee, commended the winners for their resilience and contribution to the company's growth despite economic challenges.
We are quite optimistic that next year will be even a better year. With all the experience and even the new retailers that we've got on board, I think there's the passion behind the brand. They are very committed and dedicated, and I can see only better results.
Vivo Energy markets and distributes Shell branded fuels and lubricants across Africa.
We'll bring you updates now from the Forex and the commodities market. And that'll be all for the business segment here on News 360. I am Michael Obodu. Up next is sports.
Hot news, and Oreku is already here. Oreku, what's happening to Madrid?
Well, they're currently losing by 1-0, which would be good news for FC Barcelona because they'll be confirmed as La Liga champions if it stays the same.
Give us the details.
Well, there's still a long way to go for that game, and we'll touch base on that match between Real Madrid and Mallorca. But before we do that, football's relationship with personal expression, especially religious messages, has been long a source of controversy. Governing bodies have often been caught between respecting players' beliefs and enforcing strict neutrality. The latest flashpoint comes from Ghana, where Nations FC's Emmanuel Annan was fined for revealing a religious message after scoring, reigning a debate on the global stage.
On 20th April, during a high-profile Ghana Premier League clash against Asante Kotoko, Nations FC forward Emmanuel Annan scored the second goal of the game in a 2-0 win and celebrated by lifting his shirt to reveal an undershirt inscribed with "I belong to Jesus." The Ghana Football Association 2 weeks later responded, fining Annan 500 Ghana cedis for misconduct and issuing a stern warning that further breaches could result in harsher penalties. The GFA cited league rules that prohibit political or religious statements during matches, emphasizing the need for neutrality and discipline. According to Law 4 of IFAB, players must not reveal undergarments that show political, religious, personal slogans, statements or images or advertisements other than the manufacturer's logo. Public reaction in Ghana has been mixed. Some fans and commentators have lauded Annan's open display of faith, arguing that football should accommodate personal beliefs. Others have supported the GFA stance, noting that the rules are clear and necessary to maintain professionalism and avoid potential conflicts. On social media, Annan questioned the law, asking why footballers can't celebrate their love for Jesus. Annan's case is far from isolated. Football has a long history of players using the pitch to express their faith, sometimes at a cost. In December 2024, Mark Gay wrote "I love Jesus" on his Rainbow Captain's armband during a Premier League match as part of the Rainbow Laces campaign. The English FA issued a formal warning reminding him and the club that religious messages are prohibited on equipment.
Now, before we go, let's just bring you live updates from Spain because FC Barcelona could be crowned champions of La Liga tonight without kicking the ball in the wake of Sunday's 4-3 win at home to Real Madrid. Now, the win left Barcelona 7 points clear of Madrid at the top of the table with just 3 games left to play and 9 points still available, meaning that if Real Madrid fails to win at home against Mallorca tonight, Barcelona would be officially champions. Remember that it's head-to-head in Spain, and so Real Madrid have to make sure that they win tonight against Mallorca. But as things stand, it's Mallorca who rather lead at the Bernabeu thanks to a strike in the 11th minute. And so still a lot of work to be done for Real Madrid if they're to overturn this and ensure that they at least delay FC Barcelona's party. So that's how we're wrapping up the sports segment here on News 360. My name is Oreku Ampofo.
To the entertainment news segment here on News 360. My name is Noella Donko. Now, TGMA Unsung Artist of the Year, Yao Darling, says his triumph is a significant motivator to work harder to firmly establish himself as a force to reckon with musically. Now, speaking to 3 Entertainment, the star on the rise vowed not to disappoint his fans.
I
Yao Darling claimed the coveted Unsung Artist of the Year at the 26th TGMA ahead of other fired-up talents. As part of the win, he performed live on the main TGMA stage, seizing the moment to captivate patrons with his electric performance. To Yao Darling, he made a very good use of the opportunity.
Nobody believed in us. And if I tell you how hard I've worked for this, you will never believe. It was a great time in my life. I've always wanted to be there. I was prepared. Then I hadn't slept for a very long time, so I was feeling a bit tired. But I still, killed it. Conscious of the high expectations of him, the versatile talent asserted that he'll put in hard work to cement his place in the saturated music industry. People should expect more from me. And this award is going to help bring the best in me. If I used to record 2 songs a day, I have to record 3, 5. With me, I've already recorded the songs. I have songs that I've not dropped yet. The songs be chow. It's like I knew I was going to get to a stage like this. And Coach Freeman always keep telling me that if you're an artist and you don't work before you start getting attention, you will not get much time to create. So I've always been creating. The fast emerging talent is expected to release visuals of his latest release, Password, on Friday, May 16. I have great things coming. Friday, I'm dropping a new music video for my recent song, Password. It's dope, trust me. People are going to love it. I'm just excited for what is coming after this award.
Congratulations once again going out to Yao Darling. And onto some more stories. Sean Diddy Combs' ex-girlfriend, Cassandra Ventura, has told the hip-hop mogul's sex trafficking trial that he controlled her life and coerced her into humiliating sex acts. Now, the prosecution's star witness testified about the alleged physical assault and emotional abuse she endured at the hands of the rapper during the so-called freak-offs or sexual encounters the couple had with male escorts. He would grab me up, push me down, hit me in the side of the head, kick me, Ventura told jurors in Manhattan federal court on the 3rd day of Combs' trial on sex trafficking and racketeering charges. Combs, 55, has pleaded not guilty to 5 felony counts of racketeering, conspiracy, sex trafficking, and transportation to engage in prostitution. If convicted on all counts, he would face a minimum of 15 years in prison and could face life behind bars. We'll definitely follow up and bring you the last of that story. But that's it for the entertainment news segment here on News 360. My name is Noella Donko.
Thank you so much, Noella. Coming up, international news.
At least 50 Palestinians have been killed in a series of Israeli airstrikes in northern Gaza, a local hospital says. The Indonesian hospital reported that 22 children and 15 women were among the dead after a number of homes in Jabalia town and refugee camp were hit overnight. A video shared online appeared to show at least a dozen bodies on the floor there. The Israeli military said it was looking into the report. It had warned residents of Jabalia and neighboring areas to evacuate on Tuesday after a Palestinian armed group launched rockets into Israel. It came as the UN's humanitarian affairs chief urged members of the UN Security Council to take action to prevent genocide in Gaza. Local health officials said a total of 70 people were killed in Israeli strikes across Gaza on Wednesday, most of them around Jabalia. Donald Trump has announced a series of deals with Qatar, including a record order of Boeing jets on the second leg of his 4-day Middle East tour. Before flying to Doha, Trump met the Syrian president in Riyadh, urging Ahmed al-Shara to normalize relations with Israel. The meeting came after Trump lifted sanctions on Syria, saying it will give them a chance at greatness. Trump later praised the Syrian leader, calling him an attractive guy, tough guy. He also said it's possible he will join peace talks in Turkey with Ukraine and Russia tomorrow, which President Zelensky and Putin may attend.
And that's it for News 360. Thank you so much for your time. I am Portia, Gabor.
And I am Noble Crosby. And as always, there's more news on our website, 3news.com. Please do well to log onto our website and make a date with Alfredo Kanse at 10 for Ghana Tonight. Good evening. Bye-bye.